Your Majesties, Your Royal Highnesses, Laureates, Ladies and Gentlemen. Det är en stor ära att få presentera Nobelpristagaren i litteratur. Sizlerin Nobel yazın ödülü sahibini takdim etmekte onur duyuyorum. It is a great honor to introduce the Nobel laureate in literature, writer Orhan Pamuk.
Why do you write? Why do you write? This is the question I've been asked most often in my writing career. Most of the time, they mean this. What is the point? Why do you give your time to this strange and impossible activity? Why do you write? You have to give an excuse, an apology for writing. This is how I have felt every time I have heard this question. But every time, I give a different answer. Sometimes I say, I do not know why I write, but it definitely makes me feel good. I hope you feel the same when you read me. Sometimes I say that I'm angry and that is why I write. Most of the time, the urge is to be alone in a room, so that is why I write. In my childhood, I wanted to be a painter. I painted every day. I still have that childish feeling of joy and happiness whenever I write. I write to pursue that old childish happiness, and that is why, for me, literature and writing are inextricably linked with happiness, or the lack of it, unhappiness. In my childhood, I felt happy. I painted a lot, and all the grown-ups were constantly smiling at me. Everybody was gentle, polite, and tender. I wrote all about this in my autobiographical book, Istanbul. After the publication of Istanbul, some people asked me this question: aren't you a bit young to write your autobiography? I kept my silence. Literature is about happiness, I wanted to say, about preserving your childishness all your life, keeping the child in you alive. Now, some years later, I've received this great prize. This time, the same people begin asking another question. Aren't you a bit young to get the Nobel Prize? Actually, the question I've heard most often since the news of this prize reached me is, how does it feel to get the Nobel Prize? I say, oh, it feels good. All the grown-ups are constantly smiling at me. Suddenly, everybody is again gentle, polite, and tender. In fact, I almost feel like a prince. I feel like a child. Then for a moment, I realize why sometimes I have felt so angry. This prize, which brought back to me the tender smiles of my childhood and the kindness of the strangers, should have been given to me not at this age of 54, which something is too young, but much, much earlier, even earlier than my childhood, perhaps 2 weeks after I was born, so that I could have enjoyed the princely feeling of being a child all my life. In fact, now, come to think of it, that is why I write and why I will continue to write.